So if you've been waiting patiently for another milk bar recipe from me, today's your day. This one is for you. I'm gonna be making the apple cider donut cake today, a very fall-inspired cake from Milk Bar, from Tosi.
Christina Tosi.
And well, if you've never seen me make one of these cakes before, I have a history. I've made more than a handful of these things. Shall we go over them? I think we should. I started with the Milk Bar birthday cake, which is like the famous one. I made that first, then I moved on to the popcorn cake, the German chocolate Jimbo layer cake, the pumpkin pie cake, the chocolate malt cake, the peppermint bark cake for Christmas. I took a little bit of a sabbatical from these cakes, and then I came back fast and hard with the dulce de leche cake, but it was in the middle of the heat wave and that cake kind of melted a bit. Still tasted delicious. And then it's like a year and change later, and here we are with the apple cider donut cake. This is a brand new cake. This just came out. It's hot off the cake line, 2021 trending cake. So let me just corral all the ingredients and then we'll meet over here and say everything I need for the cake. I mise en place most of it. Some of it I'll just do when I need it. I need to get the Silver Fox. Welcome back. This is the maiden voyage of this version of the Silver Fox 2.0. Apologize right off the bat. Just a blanket apology for the measurements in today's recipe. It's all cups and teaspoons and whatnot, no grams. So I will do my best to convert them to grams and I'll have them up on the screen or whatever, but when I'm speaking, it's just gonna be reading what the recipe says because I don't wanna do the math and get confused right now. So start this off with 1 stick of butter that's at room temperature. 1/4 cup plus 2 1/3 teaspoons. Just use grams. Granulated sugar. 1/4 cup of tightly packed light brown sugar. On goes the paddle attachment. I'm gonna mix this for 2 to 3 minutes on medium-high. 3 eggs. 2 to 3 more minutes. Medium-high. On low speed, I'm gonna stream in 1/2 cup of buttermilk. This recipe says used fry oil, which all I have is just fry oil, the canola oil. I'm gonna use that, 1/2 cup plus 1/2 teaspoon. Where do you come up with this? And a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna increase the speed to medium-high and paddle for 4 to 6 minutes. It's supposed to be going on a low speed right now, but you can't hear me, so. Can you hear me? So that's an important mix. You can't be rushing that one. You're combining the fats and the liquids, and it's a tough one, so you gotta give it enough time so that it can move that to the side for a second. So this is 1.5 cups of cake flour, but I also need this is like my first proper cake bake in this kitchen, and I had to buy all this new stuff, so I'm just opening it, and it makes for compelling television, I'm sure. 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, teaspoon of salt, 2.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Bring that all together. Add your dry ingredients. Low speed. Quick mix, quick mix. It's until all the dry ingredients are incorporated. Thank you for your service. I don't know, just put it there for now. I think this is a 1/4 sheet pan, which is 13 by 9. A slip mat thing. All right, so add this. My offset spatula, which always does a great job. Flatten this out as much as I can. Give the bottom of your sheet pan a tap on the counter. So I'm gonna bake this for 1/2 an hour until it puffs up and doubles in size. If I poke the edges, there should be some bounce back, and the center should no longer be jiggly, the cake needs to be cooked through. This is good. So give me that sweet bowl. Great. What I need to do is add in all my Doughnut Crumb ingredients. Come to Papa. 1/2 cup of cake flour, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, teaspoon of baking powder, tool bag, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, Just gonna mix this together. La 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 la. 1/3 cup of used fry oil, again with the used. This is new fry oil. 4 teaspoons of water. Toss around using a spatula. Okay, I've played this game before. I know that it's not specified in the actual recipe, but see these crumbs on the very top? Ignore the spicy chicken advertisement, but the crumbs on the very top here, there's no mention of that in the recipe whatsoever. It just says form these crumbs into tiny clusters. From my experience, I know that in order for me to match to the photo, I need to put aside like 15, 16 of these larger crumbs. 18 larger crumbs. And then the rest, just pebbles. Okay, the crumbs go on the baking sheet. No, I want to use a bigger baking sheet, so let's just do that. And I got this like slip mat thing on the baking sheet too. And then let's line up my pretty birds all in a row, right over here. Into the oven, 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 18 minutes. The crumb should be sandy at this point. It should smell like a buttery heaven, which she's copy and pasted this recipe from another cake recipe because there's 0 butter in this, so I don't even know what that means. Okay, so I knew that there was gonna be a couple items in this recipe that I wasn't gonna find in stores, or I just didn't really wanna, start a search party in order to find some of this stuff. So I made some special orders to pick up some of these more obscure ingredients. And when I say obscure, I don't mean like super rare, but cake collars. It's just acetate, which I've used bajillions of times before. You're gonna need that down the road. Clear vanilla extract, which has come up before with these Milk Bar cakes. Got it now. I was never gonna find that in the store. And then I also picked up some pectin. Pectin? Which is like, I think it's like gelatin, but maybe it's not made out of animals. You have just purchased 100% pure citrus pectin. Also came with calcium, which I don't know why. So the calcium is to make calcium water. Do I have to use the calcium? Okay, I'm not gonna use the calcium. Next up, I gotta make the apple cider jam. Okay, in a saucepan, 3/4 cup of apple cider, 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay, that came out faster than I expected. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So that's in my pot, and then in a separate bowl, so 1 1/4 teaspoon of the pectin stuff. So there's that quarter. Where's the teaspoon? I keep washing them, putting them away, washing them, putting them away. Another 1/4 cup of sugar plus a tablespoon. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Whisk it. And I heat this over medium-high heat. Once it's brought to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, whisking steadily. And then I'm gonna add this sugar pectin mixture. So bring it to a boil, and then I'm gonna take a thermometer. It needs to be 217 degrees Fahrenheit. Come on. Ow. Okay, 217. Take it off the heat. I need to add it to a heat-resistant container. So before it thickens, I'm gonna just give it a stir for good luck. And then this just needs to cool. So, it's done. Where are you going? You got lots to do. Okay, donut frosting. That's what's next. 5 tablespoons of butter. 2/3 cup of powdered sugar. So I'm gonna paddle this until it's smooth as butter. So next up I need 10 tablespoons of cream cheese. Recipe says 5/8 cup, which isn't helpful. I figured out it's 10 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, tiny pinch of citric acid, which a tiny pinch is like nothing. So I'm not gonna go buy citric acid because I've fallen for that in the past, and I was stuck with citric acid. It really disappoints me to hear that it's only a pinch. I went looking far and wide for this citric acid. Here I am, and I'm gonna be using that much, and I'm moving on. Shame. So I figure citric, lemon, tiny pinch of lemon juice. Little more than a tiny pinch. Another thing I had to buy from you know where. I also needed a pinch of this. Yogurt powder. Never heard of yogurt powder before. I just figure it's very similar to milk powder, but I didn't have milk powder either, so I just figured I'd get the right thing. So I got the yogurt powder, now I have it, and well, now I have it forever. So here's just a pinch, but I'm gonna use a little extra generous, generous pinch, very generous. Take some of that out, that was too generous. I'm gonna paddle this together until there's no lumps. Now do you want a story about creme fraiche? I need a tablespoon and a half of it, which I don't have creme fraiche either, so I just found a substitute, which is Greek yogurt. But I will use a tablespoon and a half. Half a teaspoon of dark vanilla extract, and a tablespoon of the newly purchased clear vanilla extract. Once it's all together, once it's incorporated, maybe just a bit more. Half a cup plus 3 tablespoons of donut sand from the Doughnut Crumb. I'm gonna just assume that donut sand is the really sandy part. This, yes. Half a cup of that. It smells and tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Add some donut sand. Mix on low speed. It says 3 more tablespoons, but I think that is way too much. Plus I need to save some for my cake. Cake goes up, whoopsie daisy. Here's the 6-inch cake ring. Cut out 2 very nice looking cake pieces. Cut out what you can from the other pieces, and then whatever the hell with the rest. If I use a plate like this, will that fit? I need this cake collar, this acetate, to fit the diameter of my cake ring. And then this whole step is incredibly easy. The scrap layers go on the bottom, but since there's a big missing piece in the middle, you kind of just squeeze them in there. So give it a knuckle punch. A little saucer full of milk. And pastry brush goes in and just soak that bottom layer. The apple cider jam is currently not very spreadable. So what if I just break it down like this? I'm using half the jam. I feel like this is a very important layer because this is all the apple cider that's in this recipe, is in the jam. So I am making sure that I can make this look as nice as I can, but honestly, it is kind of a bitch. Spread out 1/3 of the crumbs onto this layer, 1/3 of the frosting, and then you just do it again. All the remaining milk crumbs that aren't the big ones, and just try to get those on the jam, man. Wipe off the acetate a bit. Final piece of cake on top, crown your king. The milk soak the rest of the icing as smooth as possible on top. I got my giant milk crumbs. I can strategically place them about 1 inch off the edge. And that just perfectly complements the whole damn thing. Freeze it for a minimum of 12 hours. So I'll see you in 1. I'm not waiting 12 hours. As you can imagine, it's fantastic. I didn't put a lot of that apple cider in, but you can like pick it up big time. Cinnamon plays a huge part, and what's the other one? Cream cheese. Delicious milk bar strikes again. Apple cider donut cake. Apple cider, yes. Don't know where the donuts get involved. That's all we have today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you very soon. Ciao.